Hi everybody, Demo Doug here from Catchy Crafts and welcome to our very first product demo. Okay, so I'm going to be doing stamping first, and the two products that I'm going to concentrate on are the Stamp Perfect and the Hinge Stamper. And as well as that, because whenever you stamp you need to clean your stamps, I'll be showing you two different stamp cleaning products. This one which opens up, double-sided, and this one which is the one in the bag. And if you're a die cutter, you probably have or may already have an embossing mat. I'm going to show you another use for your embossing mats for stamping. Alright, so first of all, the Hinge Stamper. This, I've got an extra set of magnets in here. It comes with two super magnets, and I've just put washi tape on them to make them easy to pick up and easy to see, because the number of times that I find them getting stuck to things like watch bands and things, and I go, where is it? Now I can see it. I've got those inside my Hinge Stamper, and the Hinge Stamper also has a piece of rubber that comes out when you're using the fatter stamp. So if you're using a rubber stamp, unmounted rubber stamp, you need to take this out, and if you're using a silicone stamp, the thin stamps, then you leave that in. So the very first one I'm going to do, I'm going to stamp something simple. So put your card in, take your super magnets. I put my super magnets on my card. I'll actually put the other two inside there as well so they don't flip around. And I'll put my stamp where I want to place it on my card. Close the lid, which picks up the stamp. Oh, you can see I didn't clean my stamp properly. That's where you need to use a stamp cleaner. But it won't matter because I'm now going to fix it. And it doesn't matter if you've got a little bit of ink over on your lid, because it doesn't contact it. And there it is, perfect. A perfect impression. Now, I want to put a greeting on. Just to make things difficult, I decided to use a greeting that was a rubber stamp as opposed to the cling. Now, a little tip for you. If you've got rubber stamps that don't have a design on the back, you can write on the back with a Sharpie or something to say happy birthday, because that's what this one is, or put just a simple thing that says top. That way you won't get it around the wrong way. I'll position that where I want it. Again, put my super magnets in place to hold the card, and I pick up the stamp. And again, I should have probably cleaned that as well. And stamp. So you could say it makes it very, very forgiving. So there is my happy birthday stamp. Beautiful stamping. Now, as much as I love the Hinge Stamper, I can't do everything with it. I can't use it for fabric. So as you can see, I've got a piece of fabric here on my table. If I was going to stamp on a length of material, if I was a quilter or something, I couldn't put the fabric in my Hinge Stamper because it can't get past the hinge. This is where the Stamp Perfect comes in. It holds your mounted or unmounted stamps, and now I can stamp anywhere on material or on card or on scrapbook pages. I can even stamp inside a book. Now here over on this side, I've got, this is Dina's journal that she's working through. And if I was going to stamp in, or Dina was going to stamp in her journal, I wouldn't stamp in her journal. I could use the Hinge Stamper, use the Stamp Perfect, because if I tried to use the Hinge Stamper, I can't put a book inside a book. You know, you can't get far enough onto the pages. So that's why there's actually two different unmounted stamping solutions that work really, really well together. Now, to clean your stamps. Since I've shown you that my stamps were dirty, let's show you how to clean them. This is the double-sided stamp cleaner. I've already moistened this side, so I can take it out and clean it, or you can use it inside there Take your stamp, rub the stamp on the wet side, then on the dry side, and it cleans it off. The nice thing about that is it also cleans the tips of my fingers that had ink on them before. So that's done that one, and I can do my acrylic one as well. If you leave it still stuck on the Stamp Perfect or on the hinge stamper, you can use this piece and rub it over the top, which will clean it off. And those, to do this one, you take it out of your container, out of the bag. I normally store it in a plastic baggie, so when I'm finished for the day and I pack everything up, because it'll be a little bit wet and probably got some inks on it, I don't want that to spread to other things in my craft products, so I normally always throw it back in a Ziploc bag. I would just take my stamp, clean it on there, clean it on the dry part, because I usually keep only one part that's wet, and I put it away. The other nice thing about this Scrub It one, if you're using foil, I cut a section of this off and I use this just to rub off the foil that I've put on my adhesives, and we'll probably show you one of those in a later demo. Now, how do I use the embossing mats? Alright, so they're normally used for embossing, but I'm going to show you how you can use them for reverse stamping. So I take my stamp, because I'm using a thin stamp, I would normally use the foam in here, but because I'm now going to be doing reverse stamping, I take the foam out and I need to use the embossing mat. Now you can either use the extended embossing mat or the short embossing mat, it doesn't matter. And again, you take your stamp and say I want to position it there. No matter how much space I have, I always seem to run out. Ink up my stamp. And close it. So I'm going to stamp onto my embossing mat, and I'm actually going to do it twice. And you'll see why I do it twice in a moment. Now, I'm going to leave it closed, and that gives me an extra few seconds to get myself organised with my cardstock. Put the cardstock down. You'll notice that I've got my fingers over the edge, so I'm holding the foam, the embossing mat, as well as the card in place, and I rub over the card. Lift it up, and now I've got a beautiful stamped image. And you might go, well, that's pretty good, Doug, but you already had a nice stamped image. Why are you doing it with this? And I'll show you. Also, because I'm using the Memento ink, it comes straight off my mat. Now, I take my hinge stamper and I want to, this is a bit of a cheat, I'm going to line him up. I can put him exactly where I want him. That will be good. Put a magnet there. It's another good reason to stick the washi tape on it, because when they stick together, like they just did, you can easily separate them. So I now ink up my stamp again. Don't want to be quite that close, I just realised. There we go. And now we have a perfect mirror impression. And I reckon that most people couldn't work out which one was a direct stamp and which one was the reverse image stamp. So that's it from me. Thank you for joining me for my first product demo, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.